The sky remembers stories older than time itself. A soft rumble rolls across the horizon. Low and distant, high above the world lies Aetheria, a kingdom floating among the clouds. Its towers shimmer with golden light, kissed by endless winds. At its heart rules a king, unlike any other Zeus, the Stormcaller. His voice can awaken thunder. His breath can summon rain. With a single command, he can calm the fiercest hurricane. For centuries, Aetheria thrived under his watchful care. The skies obeyed him, wild yet harmonious. But harmony can be fragile, like glass in a storm. Whispers began to rise within the clouds. At first, soft and harmless. Then louder, restless, and strange. Storms erupted without warning, raging beyond Zeus's control. Lightning struck where none was called. The winds howled with voices not their own. Fear spread through Aetheria like a shadow over the Sunday. Zeus stood on the highest spire, staring into the trembling sky. He felt the truth deep in his bones. Something ancient had awoken, a challenge unlike any he had faced before. And so began the tale of the Stormcaller King. Dawn broke softly over the floating realm of Aetheria. Mist curled between its golden towers, glowing like silver threads. Zeus, the Stormcaller King, stood on his balcony, watching the restless sky. The air felt heavier today, charged with a strange unease. He closed his eyes and listened to the pulse of the winds. For centuries, the storms had obeyed his voice like loyal companions. But lately, their song had grown wild and broken, like a harp out of tune. The first whispers had come 3 nights ago, faint and uncertain. They were soft, like the sigh of clouds drifting past distant peaks. Now they were louder, weaving through the air like ghostly murmurs. Zeus could not understand the words, but he felt their intent. It was not anger, but something deeper, a warning, or perhaps a plea. His golden cloak fluttered as a sharp breeze surged from nowhere. Lightning flickered briefly in the clouds, though he had not summoned it. The storm was moving of its own will. That truth chilled him more than the cold wind ever could. Zeus descended the marble steps to the Grand Sky Plaza. Citizens of Aetheria gathered there, whispering in fear. Merchants clutched their goods as gusts toppled stalls and rattled doors. Children huddled close to their parents, eyes wide with confusion. "Your Majesty," an elder called, voice trembling. The storms no longer listened. Zeus raised a calming hand, though his own heart raced. "The skies will not harm you," he said, steady but unsure. "Their voices are troubled. But I will find the cause." The crowd quieted, trusting him as they always had. But he saw doubt flicker in their eyes, like a shadow under sunlight. Later, Zeus climbed the Celestial Tower, the highest point of Aetheria. From there, he could see the horizon stretching like a living ocean of clouds. Dark swirls gathered to the west, spiraling without command. He whispered a summoning chant, his voice resonating with ancient power. Normally, the clouds would bow, parting in graceful obedience. This time, they resisted, writhing like wild creatures refusing a leash. Then came the whispering again, louder now, layered and haunting. It rose from the clouds like a chorus of unseen voices. Zeus strained to catch a single word, but it was only chaos. The sound seemed to press against his mind, urging him to listen. His breath grew shallow as visions flickered before his eyes. A great rift tearing through the sky. A swirling core of light and darkness, hidden deep beyond mortal reach. Aetheria itself, trembling, ready to fall. The vision vanished as quickly as it had come, leaving him shaken. "Something ancient has awakened," he whispered to the empty air. The words felt heavy, like stones dropped into deep water. Zeus knew he could not face this mystery alone. He would need guidance, allies, and knowledge older than his throne. With determination burning in his chest, he turned toward the Hall of Winds. There, the 4 elemental wind spirits awaited his call. If anyone could understand the whispers, it was they. But even as he descended the tower, the voices followed. They curled around him like invisible tendrils, soft yet relentless. The sky was no longer merely his to command. It was alive, restless, and perhaps even afraid. And somewhere within those whispers, a message waited to be heard. Zeus vowed to uncover its meaning, no matter the cost. For the fate of Aetheria and the world below now depended on it. The Hall of Wind stood at the very edge of Aetheria, where clouds swirled like rivers. Its walls were carved from crystal, glowing softly with ancient energy. 4 towering archways faced the 4 cardinal directions of the sky. Each arch shimmered with a distinct hue, a sign of the spirit it housed. Zeus entered with heavy steps, the whispering clouds still echoing in his mind. The chamber was silent, save for the distant hum of the winds. He raised his hands, summoning the guardians with a solemn chant. The air trembled as the first spirit appeared in a rush of icy breath. Boreas, the north wind, cloaked in frost and pale blue light. His voice rumbled like glaciers grinding against stone. "Zeus," Boreas said, "the storms are wild. Even I cannot tame them." Next came Zephyrus, the west wind, warm and gentle as spring rain. He bowed gracefully, his golden hair flowing like a breeze through fields. "The whispers frighten the young clouds," Zephyrus murmured. "They no longer drift in peace." Eurus, the east wind, appeared as a sharp gust, his presence restless and quick. "The balance has shifted," Eurus snapped, his voice sharp as whirling sand. And last came Notus, the south wind, heavy with the scent of summer storms. He spoke slowly, his deep voice rolling like distant thunder. "We are no longer the masters of the skies," Notus warned gravely. Zeus studied them, feeling the weight of their fear pressing on his heart. "If even you cannot calm the heavens," Zeus said, "then something greater stirs." Boreas's eyes narrowed, glittering like frozen stars. "There is a place where the winds converge, far beyond our borders," he said. "The hollow sky," whispered Zephyrus, his tone laced with unease. Eurus scoffed, pacing like a caged storm. "No one has ventured there and returned. It is a place of silence and shadow." Notus nodded solemnly, the air around him heavy and still. "The whispers may come from that void," he said. "A wound in the sky itself." Zeus's jaw tightened. The vision he had seen returned, vivid and terrifying. Aetheria crumbling, storms raging free, the core of the heavens breaking apart. He clenched his fists, his resolve hardening like stone. "Then I must journey there," he declared, his voice steady and clear. The winds stirred uneasily, their forms flickering like restless clouds. Boreas's frosted breath swirled around Zeus's feet. "It is perilous even for you, Stormcaller," Boreas warned. "You will face silence so deep it can swallow your power." Zephyrus stepped forward, his eyes filled with sorrow. "You should not go alone," he urged. "Even kings need companions." Zeus nodded slowly, knowing the truth of those words. "There is one who studies the language of storms," he said thoughtfully. "Lyra, a scholar whose mind is as sharp as lightning." Eurus's sharp winds hissed in disapproval. "Mere mortals cannot withstand the hollow sky," he snapped. But Notus raised a calming hand, his deep voice steady. "Perhaps a mortal's perspective is what we need," Notus said. "The sky speaks in ways we have forgotten to hear." Zeus turned toward the southern arch, his cloak billowing behind him. "Then it is decided," he said. "I will find Lyra and prepare for the journey." The 4 winds bowed, their forms dissolving into swirling currents. But their voices lingered, echoing through the crystalline hall. "Beware the silence." Boreas's whisper faded like snow on the breeze. "Trust the whispers." Zephyrus's gentle tone shimmered like sunlight on water. "Do not falter," Eurus hissed, restless and sharp. "And remember," Notus's final words rumbled deep and low, "the sky lives." Zeus stood alone as the hall grew quiet once more. The whispering clouds outside grew louder, circling Aetheria like restless spirits. He knew the path ahead would test more than his strength. It would demand his heart, his wisdom, and his very soul. The journey to the hollow sky had begun, and there was no turning back. The sun dipped low, painting Aetheria in hues of gold and violet. Zeus walked through the quiet streets toward the Scholar's Quarter. The wind carried faint whispers, curling around towers like restless spirits. He kept his head high, though unease coiled tight in his chest. At the edge of the quarter stood a round observatory crowned with crystal domes. Inside, Books and maps were stacked like mountains, a labyrinth of knowledge. Lyra sat at a wooden desk, her hands tracing symbols on a storm map. She was young but sharp-eyed, her mind always racing faster than the wind. Zeus entered, his presence filling the room like a rolling thundercloud. "Your Majesty," Lyra said, rising quickly, awe and worry in her voice. "There is no need for titles," Zeus said gently. "Tonight, we are simply seekers of truth." He explained the visions, the wild storms, and the whispers haunting the skies. Lyra listened intently, her fingers tightening around a quill. "I have studied storm patterns all my life," she said. "These whispers you speak of, they are not random. They are messages." Zeus's eyes widened slightly, hope flickering in his chest. "You can understand them?" he asked, his voice urgent. "Not yet," Lyra admitted, "but I know where their trail leads." She unfurled a map that glowed faintly with enchanted ink. At its center was a swirling void marked with ancient symbols. "The hollow sky," Lyra whispered, her voice almost reverent. "No storm has ever returned from its depths unchanged." Zeus studied the map, his jaw tightening with resolve. "Then we must go there," he said firmly. Lyra blinked, startled. "We?" "Yes," Zeus replied. "The winds themselves urge me to seek you. Your knowledge may be the key to understanding what lies ahead." Lyra hesitated, fear flickering across her face like a passing shadow. "The hollow sky is dangerous," she said softly. "Even the clouds avoid its edge. The silence there can unravel the mind." Zeus placed a steady hand on her shoulder. "Courage is not the absence of fear," he said. "It is the decision to move forward despite it." Lyra drew a deep breath and nodded slowly. "Then I will go," she said, her voice trembling but strong. Together, they prepared for the journey. Zeus gathered relics of the storm, an ancient compass, a cloak woven from cloud silk. Lyra packed scrolls, crystal vials, and a small glowing sphere for navigation. When the preparations were complete, they stepped onto the sky bridge. The bridge stretched into the open air, supported only by currents of wind. Below lay the endless expanse of the mortal world, far beyond sight. Zeus raised his arms, summoning a vessel formed of lightning and cloud. The ship shimmered, humming with raw energy. As they boarded, the wind swirled, carrying faint voices of warning. "Do you hear them?" Lyra whispered, her eyes wide. "Yes," Zeus said grimly. "They grow louder with every moment." The vessel surged forward, slicing through layers of mist and cloud. They passed through regions of gentle rain, soft and warm like a blessing, then into turbulent zones where gales roared like wild beasts. Lyra clutched the railing, her hair whipping around her face. "Stay close to me," Zeus commanded, his voice steady. He guided the vessel with practiced precision, each movement a dance with the storm. As night fell, the stars emerged, distant and cold. Far ahead, a dark shape loomed on the horizon. The hollow sky pulsed faintly, like a heartbeat in the void. Even from afar, its presence was overwhelming, ancient and unknowable. Lyra shivered, pressing closer to Zeus. "It feels alive," she murmured. "It is alive," Zeus said. "The winds believe it is the heart of the sky." The whispers rose suddenly, clear and sharp like the strike of a bell. Zeus and Lyra exchanged a startled glance. The message was still unclear, but one word rang out amidst the chaos. "Welcome." The vessel slowed as they neared the boundary of the hollow sky. Silence fell, heavy and absolute, smothering even their breath. Zeus felt his power dim, like a flame shrinking under ice. Lyra reached for his hand, her grip steadying him. "Whatever waits for us," she said softly, "we face it together." Zeus nodded, his gaze fixed on the swirling darkness ahead. Beyond that void lay answers, and perhaps the salvation of Aetheria. The vessel drifted deeper into the hollow sky, surrounded by swirling mist. The silence was thick, pressing against their ears like a heavy shroud. Zeus gripped the railing, feeling his power weaken with every passing moment. Lyra clutched the glowing sphere, its light flickering like a trembling heartbeat. "This place feels endless," she whispered, her voice barely audible. Zeus nodded, his jaw tight. Stay close. The silence here is alive. Ahead, the mist shifted, revealing a towering shape in the distance. It moved slowly, as if the clouds themselves had taken form. The figure grew clearer with each heartbeat, vast and awe-inspiring. Golden tendrils of light streamed from its body, coiling through the mist. Two eyes like twin suns opened, casting a soft but unyielding glow. Lyra gasped, clutching Zeus's arm. "What? What is that?" Zeus's breath caught in his throat. The keeper of the clouds. The immense being spoke, its voice rolling like distant thunder. "Who dares disturb the hollow sky?" it rumbled. Neither kind nor cruel. Zeus stepped forward, his cloak rippling in the still air. "I am Zeus, Stormcaller King of Aetheria," he declared. "I seek the source of the whispers that torment the skies." The keeper tilted its head, studying them with ancient, unreadable eyes. "The whispers are not for mortal ears," it said slowly. "They are the cries of the sky itself, bleeding from its core." Lyra's voice trembled, yet she stood tall. "If the sky is wounded, we must understand how to heal it." The keeper's glow dimmed, as though weighed down by sorrow. "You seek answers, yet do not know the cost of truth," it warned. Zeus spread his hands, lightning sparking faintly at his fingertips. "Without truth, Aetheria will fall," he said firmly. "I will pay whatever price is required." The keeper regarded him for a long, silent moment. Then it raised one massive hand, swirling the mist into a vortex. Within the vortex, shapes formed visions of ancient storms. Aetheria rising from the clouds, born of harmony and balance. The first stormcallers guiding the winds with reverence, not command. Then a fracture appeared, dark and jagged, spreading like a wound. The sky screamed, and the hollow sky was born from their pain. Lyra covered her mouth, tears welling in her eyes. "The balance was broken," she whispered. The keeper's voice grew softer, almost mournful. "Long ago, a stormcaller sought to bind the skies to his will. His pride awakened a force beyond control, shattering the harmony." Zeus felt the weight of those words settle on his heart. "This is why the storms rebel," he murmured. "They are not mine to command, they are free, living beings." The keeper nodded slowly, its golden light flaring brighter. "To mend the wound, you must reach the vortex core. It lies beyond the path of silence, where even thought is swallowed." Lyra's hand tightened around her sphere. "Can we survive such a place?" she asked softly. The keeper's gaze shifted to her, warm but unyielding. "Survival depends not on strength, but on unity," it said. "Two voices must move as one, guiding the storm's heart." Zeus and Lyra exchanged a glance, a silent pact forming between them. The keeper lowered its immense form, bowing slightly. "I cannot leave this place," it said, "but I will guide you with what remains of my power." A tendril of golden light reached out, wrapping gently around Zeus's wrist. Warmth surged through him, filling the void where his power had faded. "For as long as this light burns, the hollow sky cannot claim you," the keeper said. Lyra stepped forward, her voice steady despite her fear. "Thank you," she whispered. "We will not fail." The keeper's glow began to fade, merging back into the swirling mist. "Remember," its voice echoed, softer now, "the sky listens as much as it speaks." Zeus and Lyra stood alone once more, the silence rushing back. The path ahead loomed dark and uncertain, but their resolve burned bright. With a deep breath, Zeus turned toward the unseen road. "Come, Lyra," he said. "The path of silence awaits." Together they stepped forward, leaving the keeper's sanctuary behind. Far above, the clouds stirred, whispering louder than ever before. The hollow sky stretched before them, vast and unknowable. The mist coiled like serpents, wrapping around their vessel with icy tendrils. Zeus tightened his grip on the railing, his stormlight flickering faintly. Lyra's glowing sphere pulsed, fighting against the oppressive darkness. "This is it," Zeus said quietly. "The path of silence." Lyra shivered. "It feels like the world itself has stopped breathing." As they moved forward, sound began to fade. The hum of the vessel, the whisper of the wind gone. Even their own voices dissolved into nothingness. Zeus reached for Lyra's hand, grounding them in the rising stillness. Their eyes met, speaking what their mouths could not. Ahead, pale lights floated in the mist, beckoning like phantom stars. Lyra pointed, her brows furrowed in worry. Zeus nodded, guiding the vessel toward the lights with slow, steady movements. The mist thickened until it felt solid, heavy as stone. Breathing became difficult, as though the air resisted their presence. Lyra's sphere dimmed, its glow swallowed by the surrounding void. Panic clawed at her chest, but she clung to Zeus's steady grip. A sudden vision flickered before her eyes, a memory, not her own. Aetheria, as it once was, radiant and peaceful. Then, a Stormcaller's face twisted in arrogance, reaching for forbidden power. Lyra gasped silently, her body trembling. Zeus saw her distress and pulled her closer, offering silent reassurance. The path shifted beneath them, an unseen current pushing the vessel sideways. Zeus braced himself, summoning a faint thread of lightning to steady their course. The current fought back, cold and relentless. Lyra placed her hand over his, lending her focus and strength. Together, their combined will cut through the unseen resistance. The lights ahead flickered, rearranging into a spiraling pattern. Lyra's eyes widened as understanding dawned. "It's a map," she mouthed silently, her fingers tracing the air. Zeus nodded, steering the vessel to follow the spiral's path. With each turn, the mist grew thinner, the silence deeper. Then, a figure appeared at the spiral center. It was humanoid, but its body was made entirely of mist and light. Its eyes were empty, yet piercing, like windows into nothingness. Lyra's breath caught in her throat as the figure raised a hand. It spoke, but not with sound. Its words entered their minds directly. Two who seek the heart must walk as one. Zeus and Lyra exchanged a startled glance. The figure continued, its mental voice calm but unyielding. The path of silence is not crossed with strength, but with harmony. Suddenly, the vessel dissolved beneath their feet, leaving them suspended in void. Lyra flailed, terror flashing in her eyes. Zeus caught her, holding her close as the mist swirled around them. The figure's voice filled their minds once more. One thought, one heartbeat. Become the storm together. Zeus closed his eyes, focusing on Lyra's trembling presence. He let his breath sink with hers, slow and steady. Lyra felt his calmness seep into her, easing her fear. Their thoughts began to merge, a fragile thread of connection forming. The mist brightened, responding to their growing unity. Shapes emerged, bridges of light forming beneath their feet. They stepped forward together, perfectly in sync. When Lyra faltered, Zeus steadied her with silent encouragement. When Zeus wavered, Lyra lent him her strength. The figure watched silently, its eyes glowing brighter. Finally, they reached the far side of the path. The mist cleared, revealing a vast expanse of swirling clouds. At its center, a column of light descended from the heavens. Lyra stared in awe. "The vortex core," she mouthed silently. Zeus's chest tightened with determination. The figure spoke one final time. "The sky's wound lies ahead. Heal it, or all will be lost." Then it vanished, dissolving into 1,000 motes of light. Sound rushed back like a crashing wave, filling their ears. Lyra gasped, overwhelmed by the sudden noise. Zeus steadied her, his own head ringing with the return of sound. He looked toward the distant column of light. "The hardest part is still ahead," he said, his voice hoarse but resolute. Lyra nodded, gripping his hand tightly. "Then we face it together," she said. Together, they stepped forward, ready to confront the heart of the storm. The swirling clouds parted, revealing the vortex core in its full glory. A massive column of light rose from the depths, spinning like a living storm. Its glow shifted between gold, silver, and a deep, pulsing crimson. Zeus felt its power reverberate through his bones, shaking his very soul. Lyra gasped, clutching her sphere tightly against her chest. This is where the wound begins," she whispered, awestruck. The winds around them screamed and whispered all at once. Fragments of voices, ancient and sorrowful, swirled through the air. Zeus closed his eyes, listening to the chaos beneath the storm. "They are crying out for balance," he murmured, his voice heavy. Lyra studied the column, her mind racing with possibilities. "If we can merge our energy with the vortex," she said, "we might heal it." Zeus's jaw tightened. "And if we fail, then the hollow sky will consume everything," Lyra replied softly. The weight of her words hung between them like a gathering storm. Zeus reached out, taking her trembling hands in his own. "We won't fail," he said firmly. "Not while we stand together." Lyra nodded, drawing strength from his unshaken resolve. They stepped closer to the column, its winds tugging at their bodies. The light grew blinding, forcing them to shield their eyes. Symbols appeared within the vortex, spinning faster and faster. Ancient runes, older than Aetheria itself, danced like lightning strikes. Lyra recognized a few, her scholar's mind piecing together their meaning. "They speak of harmony, not control," she mouthed to Zeus. Zeus nodded, understanding dawning like sunrise after a storm. He spread his arms wide, calling upon every fragment of his storm power. Lightning leapt from his fingertips, merging with the vortex's outer edges. Lyra held up her sphere, channeling her knowledge and focus into pure energy. The two streams of power intertwined, forming a bridge to the core. The vortex screamed, a sound that rattled the heavens themselves. Zeus gritted his teeth, his muscles straining as the storm pushed back. Lyra stumbled, nearly losing her focus, but Zeus's voice anchored her. "Stay with me, Lyra. We are one storm, one heart." Her resolve surged, and she steadied herself, her sphere blazing bright. Their energies fused completely, forming a single radiant stream. The column shifted, its crimson pulse weakening. Visions flooded their minds in a rush of blinding light. They saw the first Stormcaller, his hunger for control tearing the skies apart. They saw Aetheria's birth, born from harmony, not dominion. And they saw a future, a fragile world, saved by unity, or destroyed by pride. Lyra gasped, tears streaming down her face. It was never about power, she thought. It was always about listening. Zeus's heart ached with the truth. He whispered to the storm, his voice gentle yet commanding. "You are free," he said. "I am not your master, only your guardian." The vortex trembled, its rage faltering under his words. Lyra added her voice, soft and steady like a calming breeze. "We hear you," she said. "We will restore what was lost." The crimson light flickered, then dissolved into silver and gold. The wind slowed, wrapping around them like a protective embrace. But a deep rumble shook the hollow sky, a final test awakening. From the heart of the vortex, a shape emerged. It was neither creature nor storm, but a pure embodiment of imbalance. Dark tendrils lashed outward, seeking to unravel their harmony. Zeus and Lyra stood their ground, hands clasped tightly. "Together," Zeus said, his eyes blazing. They focused as one, channeling their bond into a single pulse of light. The tendrils recoiled, hissing as they dissolved into mist. The embodiment screamed silently, then vanished into the swirling clouds. Peace settled over the vortex, soft and tentative like a new dawn. The column's light steadied, no longer crimson but pure, tranquil silver. Lyra collapsed to her knees, exhausted but smiling faintly. "It's healed," she breathed, disbelief in her voice. Zeus knelt beside her, his face etched with relief. "For now," he said softly. "But balance must be protected, always." The hollow sky began to shift, its oppressive darkness lifting. Whispers faded into a gentle song, warm and harmonious. Lyra gazed upward, tears shimmering in her eyes. "Aetheria's safe," she said. "We did it." Zeus looked toward the horizon, his heart heavy with both triumph and caution. "This was only the beginning," he murmured. As they turned to leave, a final voice echoed through the hollow sky. "Stormcaller, your path is not yet done." Zeus and Lyra froze, exchanging a glance of mingled fear and resolve. The storm's heart was healed, but a greater mystery awaited them beyond the clouds. The hollow sky began to fade behind them, replaced by calmer clouds. Zeus and Lyra sailed in silence, both weary yet restless. The silver glow of the healed vortex shimmered faintly in the distance, but the final voice they had heard lingered like a shadow in their minds. Stormcaller, your path is not yet done. Lyra broke the silence first, her voice barely above a whisper. Do you think that was the keeper? She asked, hesitant. Zeus shook his head, his gaze fixed on the horizon. No, he said. This was older, deeper, something beneath even the hollow sky. Lyra's hands tightened around her sphere, its glow flickering nervously. Older than the hollow sky? What could that mean? Zeus's voice was low, almost reverent. It means there is a truth we haven't uncovered. A storm beneath the storm. The clouds ahead darkened, forming a vast, swirling depression. A low hum vibrated through the air. Steady and unnatural, Lyra gasped, pointing to the dark circle forming in the sky. It's like a whirlpool, she said, awe and fear mingling in her tone. Zeus nodded grimly. The whispering depths. Lyra shivered at the name. Why do I feel like it's calling to us? Because it is, Zeus replied. Listen closely. At first, Lyra heard nothing but the hum of the winds. Then faint whispers emerged, rising and falling like waves. They weren't chaotic, like the hollow sky's cries. These voices were measured, almost deliberate, as if guiding them. They're speaking to me, Lyra murmured. I can almost understand. Zeus frowned, his storm light flaring around him protectively. Be careful, he warned. Not every voice offers truth. The vessel descended slowly, drawn toward the massive vortex below. The winds here didn't rage, they pulled. Insistent and relentless. Zeus gritted his teeth, struggling to control their descent. This place is different, he said. It doesn't fight us. It tempts us. As they drew closer, the clouds parted to reveal a vast chasm. Light did not reach its depths, only a shifting liquid darkness. The whispers grew louder, wrapping around their minds like tendrils. Lyra clutched her head, her eyes wide with pain and wonder. They're showing me images, she gasped. Histories we've never known. Zeus placed a steadying hand on her shoulder. Tell me what you see, he urged. Lyra's breath came in ragged bursts as visions flooded her mind. I see. A time before Aetheria, she said shakily. The skies were wild, unformed, full of chaos and freedom. Then a great presence came a force that shaped the clouds into harmony. Zeus's eyes narrowed. The first Stormcaller? Lyra shook her head, trembling. No, something greater. It was the sky's heart itself. Her sphere glowed brighter, pulsing in rhythm with the whispers. The heart gave its power freely, but it demanded balance in return. Zeus felt his chest tighten as realization dawned. The hollow sky's wound, he said softly. It was never just about storms. No, Lyra agreed. It's about the sky's heart being broken, divided. The whispers suddenly turned harsh, a cacophony of clashing voices. Lyra screamed silently, falling to her knees. Zeus knelt beside her, wrapping her in his arms. Stay with me, Lyra, he shouted, though his words were swallowed by the hum. The darkness below surged upward, forming a massive column. Within it, faces appeared, shifting and vanishing like waves. The voices merged into one, deep and commanding. Stormcaller, you have healed the wound above, but the roots remain. Descend, if you dare, and face the truth buried beneath the clouds. Zeus's heart pounded, but his resolve held firm. We will descend, he declared. Together. Lyra's trembling hand found his, gripping tightly. I'm with you, she whispered. The darkness formed a spiraling path, leading deep into the abyss. Zeus guided the vessel onto the path, his storm light blazing like a torch. As they descended, the temperature dropped, and the air grew dense. Whispers turned into haunting melodies, weaving through their minds. Lyra's eyes glazed, her voice echoing strange, ancient words. Zeus, she said slowly, I think this is the sky's true voice. The path twisted and turned, leading ever downward. Finally, a faint glow appeared below, vast and circular. At its center floated a massive crystal, fractured in weeping streams of light. Zeus's breath caught. The sky's heart. Lyra stared, tears streaming down her face. It's broken, she whispered, and the pieces are calling to us. The final whisper rose, louder than all the others combined. Restore me, or watch all skies fall into eternal silence. Zeus and Lyra stood at the edge of the abyss, ready to face the deepest storm yet. The abyss was silent, save for the soft hum of the broken heart. Zeus and Lyra stood motionless, staring at the floating crystal. Cracks spiderwebbed across its surface, each one glowing faintly. From the fissures, streams of light flowed like falling tears. Lyra's breath caught, her voice trembling. "This is the source of all storms," she whispered. Zeus nodded, his stormlight flickering like a candle in the dark. "And the source of balance?" he said. "Broken and bleeding." The whispers returned, softer now, almost pleading. "Restore me," the voice echoed, weaving into their minds. Lyra fell to her knees, overwhelmed by the sheer sorrow in the sound. Zeus crouched beside her, steadying her with a firm hand. "We need to understand," he said. "How do we heal this?" Lyra's sphere pulsed, connecting her to the fractured heart. Visions burst into her mind like lightning. She saw the first storm, wild and free, before Aetheria had form. She saw the heart appear, weaving chaos into harmony. And she saw the moment it shattered, splintered by greed and pride. A figure loomed in the vision, cloaked in shadow. It reached for the heart, demanding its power for itself. The heart resisted, fracturing under the strain. The shadow fell away, leaving only ruin behind. Lyra gasped, tears streaking her cheeks. "It wasn't just time that broke it," she said. "It was betrayal." Zeus clenched his fists, his stormlight flaring angrily. "The first Stormcaller," he growled. "This is his legacy." The whispers surged, drowning out his anger. "Stormcaller, Guardian, restore me, but beware the fragments." Lyra's eyes widened. "Fragments?" The abyss trembled, and 6 shards rose from the darkness. Each shard glowed with a different color: red, blue, green, gold, white, and black. Zeus stepped back, shielding Lyra as the shards circled them. "They're alive," he realized. "Each one holds a piece of the heart's will." Lyra's sphere trembled violently in her hands. "They want to be whole again," she said. "But they don't trust each other." The shards began to clash, their lights sparking like lightning. The air filled with the sound of discordant whispers. Zeus gritted his teeth, holding out his hands. "We have to calm them," he shouted over the chaos. Lyra nodded, her face pale with strain. "I'll speak to them," she said. "Guide me." She closed her eyes, letting the sphere's glow merge with the shard's light. Zeus placed his hands on her shoulders, channeling his storm power. Together, they reached into the storm of voices. At first, only anger and mistrust met them. Then, a single thread of harmony emerged. Faint, but steady. Lyra followed it, speaking softly. "You are one," she said. "Pieces of a whole, not enemies." The red shard flared angrily, a burst of heat and fury. Zeus steadied Lyra, his voice firm. "Your strength is not in conflict," he said. "It's in unity." The blue shard pulsed, releasing a soothing, cooling wave. The clash began to slow, the shards listening. Lyra's sphere shone brighter, its glow wrapping around the fragments. "We will heal you," she promised. "But you must trust each other again." For a moment, the shards hovered peacefully. Then the black shard darted away, trembling with fear and doubt. "No!" Lyra cried, reaching for it. The abyss rumbled, darkness spilling upward like smoke. A shape formed from the shadows, a figure with no face. Zeus's heart pounded. The betrayer's echo. The figure extended a hand, wrapping the black shard in darkness. "Balance is a lie," it hissed. "Chaos is freedom." The other shards scattered in panic, their lights dimming. Lyra staggered, clutching her chest. "It's trying to break them apart again," she gasped. Zeus roared, unleashing a burst of lightning. The light struck the shadow, forcing it back but not destroying it. He turned to Lyra, his expression fierce. "We need to unite the 5 remaining shards," he said. "Only then can we face it." Lyra nodded, determination shining through her tears. "I'll call to them," she said. "You hold the darkness at bay." Zeus positioned himself between her and the shadow, stormlight blazing. The shards hovered uncertainly, torn between fear and hope. Lyra extended her sphere, her voice strong and clear. "You are fragments of the same heart," she declared. "Come back to one another." One by one, the shards moved closer, their lights merging. The gold shard joined first, followed by green and blue. The white shard hesitated, then finally came forth. 4 shards united, glowing in perfect harmony. The shadow shrieked, its form twisting violently. Zeus gritted his teeth, barely holding it back. "Lyra," he shouted. The last shard, the black shard, trembled, torn between darkness and light. Lyra reached out, her voice breaking with emotion. "You are part of this family," she cried. "We will not abandon you." The shard quivered, then surged forward into the circle of light. The 5 united, forming a radiant core of energy. The shadow screamed and dissolved, leaving only silence. Lyra collapsed, exhausted, as the crystal heart glowed brighter. Zeus caught her, holding her close. "It's not whole yet," she whispered, "but it's alive again." Zeus looked at the fractured heart, determination burning in his eyes. "Then we finish what we started," he vowed. The abyss around them began to shift, revealing a hidden path forward. The whispers returned, softer now, full of gratitude and warning. "One trial remains, Stormcaller, one final storm." Zeus and Lyra stood, ready to face whatever awaited beyond the darkness. The hidden path stretched before Zeus and Lyra, glowing faintly in the abyss. Behind them, the shards hovered close, their light steady and calm. The fractured heart pulsed, its glow growing stronger with each beat. Zeus felt the weight of destiny pressing on his shoulders. "This is it," he murmured. "The final storm." Lyra squeezed his hand, her voice steady but soft. "We've come this far," she said. "We won't turn back now." The path led them upward, winding through clouds of silver mist. Whispers followed them, no longer chaotic but solemn and guiding. "Guardian, Stormcaller, face the root of imbalance." The mist parted, revealing a vast chamber of swirling light. At its center floated a massive figure, neither man nor storm. It had no face, only a shifting mass of energy and shadow. Zeus felt the hairs on his neck rise. "The source of it all," he breathed. Lyra clutched her sphere tightly, her voice trembling. "This isn't just a creature," she said. "It's the storm's memory." The figure spoke without words, its voice inside their minds. "You healed the surface wound, but you never faced the truth. Balance cannot exist where old pain lingers." Zeus stepped forward, defiant. "Then let us face it," he declared. "We will set it right." The figure's energy surged, shaking the entire chamber. "Very well. Prove your harmony." Winds erupted around them, forming a colossal storm wall. Lightning danced through the air, but it did not strike. Instead, the storm shaped itself into memories. Zeus saw his childhood, the day he first called lightning. He saw the fear in the villagers' eyes, their whispers of distrust. Lyra gasped as her own memories appeared beside his. She saw herself alone in a library, desperate to understand the skies. The storm blended their visions, showing their failures and regrets. Zeus fell to his knees, overwhelmed by guilt. "I let my power isolate me," he whispered. "I thought I had to fight alone." Lyra reached for him, tears shining in her eyes. "And I hid in knowledge," she said, "too afraid to act." The storm's voice thundered. "These are your fractures. Heal them, or be consumed by them." Zeus grasped Lyra's hand, pulling himself upright. "No more fear," he said firmly, "no more hiding." Together, they faced the swirling visions. Zeus unleashed his storm power, not to destroy, but to cleanse. Lyra channeled her sphere, weaving harmony into the chaos. The memories dissolved into pure light, leaving calm in their wake. The figure paused, its form flickering uncertainly. "You have mended yourselves, but the heart remains divided." The 5 shards floated forward, circling Zeus and Lyra. Their glow intensified, seeking the 6th, the black shard. Zeus looked around, his heart pounding. "Where is it?" he demanded. A laugh echoed through the chamber, cold and bitter. From the shadows, the betrayer's echo emerged once more. The black shard hovered within its chest, pulsing with dark light. "You seek wholeness," it hissed. "But wholeness is weakness. Zeus stepped forward, his stormlight blazing. "You don't belong here," he said. "Release the shard." The echo sneered, its form shifting like smoke. "Come and take it, Stormcaller." Dark tendrils lashed out, striking at Zeus and Lyra. Zeus deflected them with arcs of lightning, each strike precise. Lyra's sphere glowed, creating a shield of shimmering energy. The shards lent their power, forming a ring of protection. But the echo was relentless, feeding on their fear. Zeus's arms trembled as the storm pressed harder. "We can't overpower it," Lyra shouted. "We must outshine it." Zeus met her gaze, realization dawning. "Not just my storm," he said. "Our harmony." They clasped hands, merging their powers fully. The chamber filled with light, warm and unyielding. The echo screamed, its shadow form writhing. The black shard quivered, torn between darkness and unity. Lyra called out, her voice echoing like a song. "You are not alone," she cried. "You are part of us." The shard trembled, then shot toward the others. The 6 shards united, fusing into a single, radiant crystal. The heart pulsed, flooding the chamber with light. The echo wailed one last time, before dissolving into nothingness. Silence fell, profound and complete. Zeus and Lyra floated in the glow, breathless, but victorious. The heart spoke, its voice resonant and peaceful. "You have restored me. Balance returns to the skies." The chamber shifted, becoming a vast open sky. Aetheria's clouds glimmered in harmony, whole and unbroken. Lyra wept, her sphere now a simple, gentle glow. "We did it," she whispered. "The storm is healed." Zeus held her close, his heart lighter than it had ever been. "This isn't just an ending," he said softly. "It's a beginning." The heart's light descended, surrounding them like a blessing. "Stormcaller Guardian, your journey is not over," it said, "but now you walk it together." The vision faded, leaving Zeus and Lyra standing beneath a calm sky. They looked at each other, ready to face whatever came next. For the first time, the storm was truly at peace. The calm sky stretched endlessly above Zeus and Lyra. The storm clouds had parted, leaving only golden sunlight. Zeus breathed deeply, feeling the air warm and alive. Lyra stood beside him, her sphere glowing faintly in her hands. For the first time, the world felt whole. The shards, now fused into the heart, floated gently before them. Its light was steady, neither too bright nor too dim. The heart spoke softly, like a breeze through leaves. "Balance has been restored, but harmony must be nurtured." Zeus bowed his head, humbled by its presence. "What must we do now?" he asked. "Guard the skies," the heart replied. "Guide those who wander from the path." Lyra's voice trembled with awe. "Will the storms ever return?" she asked. The heart pulsed gently. "Storms will always exist, Guardian, but they need not bring destruction. They can bring renewal." Zeus glanced at Lyra, understanding dawning in his eyes. "The storms are part of life," he said. "Not our enemies." The heart glimmered in approval. "You see clearly now." Stormcaller. The sky began to shift, revealing Aetheria below. The once fractured islands now floated in graceful harmony. Villages rebuilt themselves, bridges reconnecting lost lands. People looked to the sky, hope shining in their faces. Lyra's heart swelled as she watched. "All of this," she whispered. "We saved it." Zeus placed a hand on her shoulder, his voice steady. "No," he said. "We gave it a chance to heal." The heart floated higher, its light spreading across the horizon. "I will return to my resting place," it said, "but my song will remain." The whispers filled the air once more, now gentle and harmonious. Zeus and Lyra felt the melody deep in their souls. It was the sound of balance, of a world reborn. The heart shimmered and vanished into the sky. Silence followed, but it was a peaceful silence. Lyra turned to Zeus, tears glistening in her eyes. "What happens to us now?" she asked softly. Zeus gazed at the horizon, his expression thoughtful. "We've been chosen," he said. not just as heroes, but as guides. Lyra blinked, surprised. Guides? Zeus nodded. We'll teach others how to walk in harmony. He clenched his fist, determination in his stance. No more rulers, no more betrayers, only balance. Lyra smiled, her fear replaced by quiet strength. Then let's begin, she said. As they descended to Aetheria, the people gathered around them. Their faces were full of wonder and gratitude. Children laughed as small, harmless breezes swirled around their feet. The villagers bowed, whispering thanks to the Stormcaller and the Guardian. Zeus raised his hands, shaking his head. No titles, he said firmly. We are simply part of this world. Lyra echoed his words, her voice carrying across the crowd. Together, we will learn to live with the storm, not against it. The people cheered, their voices rising like a new song. Zeus felt a strange warmth in his chest, deeper than pride. It was belonging something he had never known before. Days passed, and Aetheria began to flourish again. Zeus and Lyra traveled between the islands, teaching and listening. They helped rebuild homes, but more importantly, they rebuilt trust. The storms that came were gentle, nourishing rather than destructive. Each night, the heart's melody hummed softly in the wind. One evening, Zeus stood atop a cliff, gazing at the stars. Lyra joined him, her presence quiet but comforting. Do you ever wonder, she asked, if the storm will test us again? Zeus smiled faintly, his eyes on the horizon. It will, he said. But we're ready now. He held out his hand, and Lyra took it without hesitation. The wind swirled gently around them, playful and free. In that moment, Zeus understood what true power was. Not control, not fear, but harmony. Lyra leaned her head against his shoulder, her voice soft. The storm brought us together, she whispered. And now it will keep us moving forward, Zeus replied. As dawn broke, the first light painted the clouds gold. The people of Aetheria woke to a new day, full of promise. Zeus and Lyra stood at the edge of the sky, watching over them. The world was at peace, but their journey was not over. Together, they would guide Aetheria through the storms to come, and as long as they walked side by side, balance would endure.